This conference will now be recorded.
So in previous session, we have understood the concept of Einstein analytics, the comparison between report and dashboard and analytics dashboard, and we understood what are the Einstein analytics components. So if you remember, in the previous session, we talked about for navigation time, we have something called analytics tab and analytics studio, and from there to build the dashboard, to play around with this analytics studio, we have something called data manager. Let's see what is this data manager. Let me show you in that page. Okay, if I go to my analytics studio from the application launcher, let me go to analytics studio. In the analytics studio, we have one piece of component which we call data manager. So let's have an overview of data manager, and we'll dig more detail in upcoming sessions. So what are the options we have in data manager and what we can do? What is this data manager? But to understand that, let's see the overview data manager. So we can access the data manager from Analytics Studio tab, Analytics Studio applications. Okay, from here how we came, you see from App Launcher, Analytics Studio, then I came to my data manager. The moment you click on data manager, I just came to my data manager page. Okay, so data manager is basically the administrators, Einstein Analytics administrators use it, okay, to build the data flow. Okay, so let's make a note here. So from data manager, what we can do, we can build data flow, we can create recipe, we can monitor jobs running in the like some time frame, like last 7 days or any time frame what you want. We can monitor the job run, we can monitor data set, and also we can connect to external data. So how these things going to be work on my data flow? So if you go here to my data manager, you see I have different options like monitor, data flow receive, and my data and my connect. So I said from data manager, what we can do, we can build data flow, we can create recipe. The second option is see data flow and recipes. I'll talk about more detail what is data flow and recipe and how we're going to do it. Okay, and we can monitor the jobs. There is a tab you can see which you call monitor. So we can monitor the jobs, and we can monitor jobs for like jobs run in the last 7 days, whatever you want to see, you can see here. And we can monitor the different data flows what we have. Okay, we can see the data sets to create. You can see an option called data set. What is data set? Data set nothing but, if you see, it's which contains the data itself. Based on which data I want to build dashboard, the data set to define, we can go here to create my data sets, or we can connect to my external data. So how to connect, what type of data you want to connect, we can do from here. Okay, this kind of things we can do here. Okay, so now if you go here, also if you want to open the data manager, like one place I said from Analytics Studio, we can come here. From Analytics Studio, we click here. Okay, so also if you see in the setup icon, the gear icon what you have, from there also directly you can go to data manager. Both the flow you have, how you want to go to data manager, you can go. Either you can go from, let me make a note, either you can go from your Einstein Analytics Studio, or you can go from setup also. From setup, there is option called data manager. Setup in the sense I can say setup icon what you have, or gear icon what you say it. This gear icon. From here also you can navigate to data manager, or you can navigate from my Einstein Analytics Studio. So once you come to this data manager, we have different kind of thing. Let's see what this monitor do. Okay, so the first options we have like monitor. So what kind of thing we can monitor in my data manager? So when I say monitor, what we can monitor? Okay, so when I say monitor, what I'm going to monitor here? So now, like as I said, the let me show here the data I'm going to available based on the schedule. So the data what I want to flow from external data to my Einstein platform, or from my Salesforce data to Einstein platform, so we can define some kind of flow. So we want to monitor that flow. So we can monitor the running data flows, which may be scheduled, or which scheduled data flow, or scheduled recipe, or scheduled sync jobs. All these things what you want to monitor, we can do from here. So we can monitor, let me note all this for you. Scheduled data flows, we can monitor scheduled recipes. If you see in this platform, we also create the recipes, data flow and recipe. We can see what are the recipes scheduled, that also we can monitor scheduled recipes. We can also monitor the scheduled sync jobs. When you build these jobs and when you create these, then we'll see how the monitor works for us. Okay, we can see the historical data flow and jobs which run in the last 7 days. If you see when in the monitor, no jobs run in the past 7 days. So historically, we can also see last 7 days what jobs run. That also we can visualize or we can see from this monitor tab. Okay, and also if you see, if you want to refresh also, you can refresh and you can let me close it. So you can refresh from here, we can refresh from here, and we'll see how it is going to happen. Okay, that kind of thing we can do here. We have refresh icon to refresh to get the latest status of the running data flow or recipe. So when you go to this monitor, what we get, if you are going to see the data flows. Okay, see I'm going to monitor here. Let's me open this data flow. Let's understand in data flow what is going to happen here. This is my data flow, correct? So if any jobs runs, we can see multiple things. Okay, if you see file uploads or not, if you want to hide that also you can see in this monitor. So in the monitor, normally if once we schedule, you can see more details. What you can see the details for the data flow, you can see what is data flow name, their status. As a column you can see status. Then you can see what type of data flow is, when this job started, start time, how much time it have taken, and if any messages are there, that also you can see. These are nothing but one column you can see during monitor to have more details about the jobs. So if any jobs fail or how much time it have taken, okay, when it started, that kind of thing we can see on my monitor. If I monitor, I can see all these kind of things. Okay, so if you expand this data flow, if you go and expand this data flow, what is going to happen? Then you can see more details about that. So let's see on this data flow, how many records moved to my Einstein platform, the number of rows in or number of rows out or number of rows failed. All these details we can see, like what is the node name. We'll see. I'll show you everything when you build a data flow. The status, their node type, what is the start time, okay, how much duration it have taken, so what are the rows in or what are the rows out, and how many rows got failed. All these information also we can say for a particular data flow. Okay, yeah, all these informations we can see. Okay, so if you, and also for the data flow we can get options to schedule at a particular time or whatever you want. You can also do that kind of things. Okay, so all these informations we can see from monitor. I'll show you how this schedule happens, how we're going to build that. I'll show you, no need to worry for that. Okay, so once you see the jobs, you can see different kind of columns here to understand what it is. Okay, so that we do for the monitor. So monitor nothing but is to track about your running data flows, what are the scheduled data flow, what are the scheduled recipes, and since historically you can see for the last 7 days what are the data got scheduled and what is their statuses, and how many records got to process, how many records got failed, everything you can see it. Okay, and same way you see there is one more tab which you call data flow and recipe. When I say data flow and recipe, what it is? Okay, so what are the data flow we are going to create? Okay, so like the data, how it's going to flow at what time, from which data set or from which database to my Einstein platform. It may be from external or it may be from Salesforce local database, from where I'm going to flow it. So to make any changes or to create a new data set, we used to come to data flow and recipe. If you want to create a data flow, I have a button here. You can see, you can click and you can create. Say my whatever data flow you have, everything will be listed out here. You can see here. If you want to edit, you can edit the Data flow, what you have, you can download the data flow, you can upload from any XML, you can upload, you can run it now, or you can schedule, you can see the notifications, all these kind of things we can manage from this data flow and recipes. So in this data flow recipe, what we can do, let me list out here. So whenever you are in the data flow and the recipe tab, what we're going to do here, so simply what we can do here, we can edit data flow name, we can download the data flow as JSON file. If you see, we have option here called download. We can download, nothing but you want to take a manually backup of that data flow, then simply you can download as a JSON file. Or if you have a JSON file, you can upload it. Let's say I have taken a backup in the JSON file and I will update something, then I will take as a backup. See, if I click on download, what is going to happen? I get a JSON file. If I go and open it, let me show you. If I go and open it, what is going to happen? Then if I want, I can manually change this data flow informations and I can again upload it. For that upload, if you see, I have options which I called upload. I can upload any data flow also. Okay. So same way, what you do here, if you want to run the data flow right now, we can run it. Okay. Or you can schedule for a future run. That you can show, we can do here. These options we have run now and schedule. Let me show you the data flow. See, this is the data flow what we have. We can manually manipulate this JSON file also. I'll show you how it's going to happen in the upcoming sessions. Okay. So same way, if I want, I can schedule also. Then also I have something called notifications. Okay. If you want to send notifications when data flow run have some warning or some failure or based on some events, that notifications also we can build. And also if you want, you can delete this data flow also. Once you create a data flow, we will have privilege to delete it also. That also you can see this. We can delete also. One option we get delete also. If you want delete, we can delete this data flow also. Okay. And for receipts, if you click on the receipts, if data flow and receipt, for receipts you can here, you can create, edit and run data flow receipts from here. If you want to create a recipe, you can create from here. Okay, we can, if any receipts are there, we can open the recipe here. We can save as also. You can create a recipe also. All the options we have here. If you like, you can run the recipe, schedule, delete, everything you can do as you have data flow also. Okay, and same way you see something called data. So data nothing but my data set. So in this place, what you see your data set name, what time it's created, who created, this is under which application, nothing but like a folder in Salesforce report and dashboard. And this data set contains how many rows and when this data got refreshed and when this data got queried to process. This kind of information we can see in the data tab of data set. Okay, if you have sync enabled, then you can see what are the connected data also I have from the external data set or from a local database, whatever you want, what is the connections you build, and based on that, what are the connected data you have, that also you can see. We are going to build everything one by one. This is just an overview of data manager what we have. And if you want to have connecting to external database, you can create a connect to data here from where you want to get data. It will be visible if we have enabled the sync, and this connect tab shows all the Salesforce object which are synced to my Einstein platform, to which are synced to my Einstein analytics. Okay. Also, we can connect to my external dataset. If you click, then you will give the options to where you want to connect. This kind of thing also we are going to do through my data manager. So in overall, what we can say, in data manager you have different kind of components which nothing but to monitor my data, what we have, to monitor the jobs, anything. We can create data flow and recipes. We can see what are the data I have on my Einstein platform, and then we can connect to my Salesforce local database or my external database. So this is all about the data manager. And on top of this data manager, we'll see how I'm going to create data set, how I'm will defining my data source, how I'm going to create the flow recipe, and how I'm going to build my dashboard, my dashboards. So all these things we'll see in the upcoming sessions. Thank you. Stay tuned for the next session.